Since Operation Riptide is set to end in just a few days, according to Valve at least, we all know how they are with doing things on time, but today I wanted to talk about all of the Operation Riptide collection skins, how they've been looking as investments so far, if they're worth buying into now, or if they're going to hit much lower lows like we saw with the Broken Fang skins. So as always, if you do enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check out the sponsor, Insane.gg. Insane.gg is a gambling site where you can play Crash, upgrade your skins, or try out the new Lava game mode, which to me seems really high risk, but I've seen tons of people with like 20x multipliers on it. Either way, today I just kept things simple on the Crash game mode and hit a 1.5x. As always, everything is completely provably fair, and you could see all the rules so you know you're not getting ripped off. So be sure to sign up with that link in the description and use code SUKAOFFIRE for a 100% deposit bonus on your first deposit, and code SUKAOFFIRE30 on anything after that for a 30% bonus. Also, gamble responsibly, only 18 or older, and only gamble with an amount you're comfortable losing. I always recommend going in with a set amount and not doing any more. But for now, let's get right into the video. So first of all, let's take a look at the price trends of some of the skins so far. I'll start with the Glock Pink DD-Pat as number 1, it's a purple, number 2, it's in the Mirage collection, and not only is it an affordable skin, but also in the collection with the most supply, which I'll talk about a bit later. Not to mention, it also looks kinda decent, sorta just something that I could see people using as a play skin. So I mostly chose it because I just think it's a realistic skin that a lot of people would just want to own, and maybe you would expect to make some money from it, but it's not exactly that simple. The trend has been a bit all over the place, completely up and down, but right now we're roughly at the spot where they started. So if you unboxed one here, or if you unboxed one at the beginning, you'd be sitting at a completely fine spot. But note, that's only for the field tested and minimal wear versions. Other versions have just been completely flat in price, haven't shown any price action at all. And even though the field tested and minimal wear ones had ups and downs, these just don't really have any hype behind them. But how are other skins looking? Let's look at something higher tier, the Op Desert Hydra. Something I talked about at the very beginning of the operation, saying that it would be really oversupplied and in the long term just not worth the investing into at all. Currently there's about 7,000 of them, not including souvenirs. I completely disincluded those because I don't think it's fair to include supply of souvenir packages in these. I think they're two completely different things. But either way, the trend actually isn't looking too atrocious so far. On Skinport, they went through a massive dip at the very beginning of their existence. Note that I use Skinport because there isn't any on the Steam market. And looking at higher tier prices in real money is always a better option in my opinion. But the reason for that massive dip at the beginning of their existence is probably since everyone that got one just wanted to sell it right away, thinking they would be worth the most, but they got pretty oversold. Since then, price has recovered a bit and completely flattened out again. So nothing is looking too bad at all yet for these skins. And here's why I say yet, because I absolutely think they're gonna crash in price. If we take a look at the Op Fade, I've marked a red line exactly where Operation Broken Fang ended, and you can see something fairly similar to what we're seeing now. A dip in price throughout the first few weeks of the operation, prices bounce back or at least flatten out towards the end of the operation as people presumably want to get a hold of these while they're still in game, and you'll notice right after that red line, right after Operation Broken Fang ends, things just kind of flatten out for a bit, and then it was all downhill from there. Now, a large part of this can be attributed to the absurd supply of Op Fades. There's currently over 10,000 of them, but this was probably closer to the 9,000 range during the operation because of trade-offs. Either way, 9,000, 10,000, that's a lot. And even though it is a nice skin, it paid the price when the operation ended and the hype died down. Then the absurd supply really started to show on the price trend, and I really think we're going to see the same thing happen with the Desert Hydra, the entire Mirage collection, and honestly the rest of the collections as well, because I just don't think the hype is going to maintain, and just like last time, price is going to die down long term. Now, you might ask why I don't think something like the M4A1S Imminent Danger is a good long term hold either. There is currently a bit less than 900 in existence, once again only non-souvenir, and that's a hell of a lot less than Op Fades or Desert Hydras in existence. But Let's compare it to M4A1S Welcome to the Jungles with around 2600 in existence, which is mildly low. It's a lot lower than normal operation skins we see nowadays, a lot lower than the gold arabesque, op fade, all that stuff. It's still quite a bit though, and sure, they haven't looked as bad as the op fade, they haven't completely tanked, but they're not really going anywhere either. And keep in mind, their price includes after the A1S buff, where we saw tons of M4A1S skins doubling in price. I just don't think, even with lower supply, that these things are worth touching. And there's just tons of other options, high tier, lower tier, just cheap $20 to $100 skins that you can buy and expect a decent return. And not to mention tons of better looking skins as well for that price with a hell of a lot less risk. And if we go back and look at something that's not in a collection with absurdly low supply or absurdly high supply, somewhere in the middle from Operation Broken Fang with the Havoc collection that contained the AK X-Ray with about 5,000 of those in existence, which I mean isn't exactly low, but it's definitely in the middle of whatever it was, 900 and 9,000 or 10,000 now. I'm actually going to look at the Op Silk Tiger since it's got a much clearer trend, but it's just the same thing. An absolutely awful price trend like we've seen with so many Broken Fang items, even though there's only around 5,000 AK X-Rays and 9 to 10,000 Op Fades, this thing has completely had the same crash in price, even though there's just half as much supply. So even though supply is definitely a big issue, if people don't want the skins, that's going to be a big issue as well. There's just no hype behind them, and thousands upon thousands of these pinks and red skins that people don't want, and price is going to lower because of that. And even though I think the Broken Fang skins have bottomed out for the time being, this obviously isn't something you want to go through if you're holding on to Riptide skins, and I absolutely think it will happen. I think supply is too high in some of the collections, and if it isn't too high, the demand just isn't there to make these skins worth buying at this moment. And if you're holding on to them, personally, I would either sell them for cash, trade them for a better play skin with a trend that looks half decent, or if not, be completely prepared to hold on to these things for years, because I once again just absolutely think they're going to crash in price for these reasons. So besides that, that's just going to wrap up all my thoughts for the Riptide items. Be sure to leave a comment if you guys think otherwise. Maybe I missed some key information, or maybe I'm just flat out stupid, but for all those reasons, I think we're just going to end up the same as Broken Fang looked. But either way, as always, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check out insane.gg if you did enjoy. But for now, I'll see you guys next one. Peace.